Our region's business is sponsored by PNC for the achiever in you. Our region's business. Innovation, transformation, momentum. Improving our communities and driving technologies that will shape our region for generations. The collaboration that brings vitality, prosperity, and life to living. Stay with us for the coming half hour as we examine in depth our region's business. Now, here's your host, Bill Flanagan.
Today on Our Region's, making the case for private capital and how to make the most of it. Plus, bringing a time-honored culinary tradition home to our region. From Texas, no less. We'll meet the entrepreneur behind Cafe Colache. But first, Pittsburgh's newest stadium is ready for the first kick on the south side of the Mon, but it's going to have to wait till spring. Highmark Stadium, the new home of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, is open for ice skating right now. The stadium occupies a former parking lot adjacent to Station Square. Jason Kutney's here with the story of how it has come to be there. He's CEO of and a player with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And welcome. Good to see you.
You too. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, congratulations. That is a really cool addition to the South Side.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be nice to welcome soccer and all the different sports that we bring, as you touched on, ice as well, down to the South Side and down in the mix of the city. Yeah,
so the Riverhounds have been around for how long?
Since 1999. Okay,
so well over 10 years, almost 15. How did the stadium come about?
Well, when we, our ownership group, our current ownership group, when we purchased the club back in 2006, one of the main focuses for us was on the youth and developing a sophisticated youth model. But we looked at a system of about 5 years where when we developed the youth to a sufficient level where we felt it was comfortable, it was considered elite nationally, we would then focus our attention on the professional side of the game. So the Riverhounds have been a pro soccer team since '99, but we really looked at starting it the opposite approach, focusing on the youth. Once we got the youth up to the proper level that we felt we could go national with that program, we would then bring attention to it all through a stadium for the professional teams. So we got very serious about a stadium about 3.5 years ago.
Was downtown always the #1 choice?
No, I wish I could say it was. We certainly climbed through the mud and floodwaters many times looking at different sites, but when Station Square became a realistic opportunity for us, we knew we had to swing for the fences because we were not going to find a better location.
When I heard you were going to build that down there, I just scratched my head. I figured they cannot possibly fit a soccer field on that strip of land where the old amphitheater used to be.
Correct. Throughout construction, I walked the site many times. I did my paces, I had measuring sticks, I was doing everything I could possibly do to convince myself, midway through construction, mind you, that we could still pull it off, despite seeing all the images and the pictures and the renderings, and it's there, and it certainly fits, and it's going to be an unbelievable addition to the city.
And you got plenty of seating, you think, for at least the initial phases of professional hockey in Pittsburgh?
We do, and you know, we have the ability to expand. So for us, right now with the ice rink, it's great. The seating wraps right around the rink. For the soccer stadium, the same thing. The seats are very intimate. They're right on top of the field. You know, what you see in many of the high school stadiums is a track around that field that separates the stands from the field. We don't have that. You know, we're 12 feet from the sideline. The fans are going to be right there. The corporate suites are going to be hanging over the field. It's going to be a cool little tight environment.
And of course a spectacular view right out in front of everybody.
Yeah, and we worked with River Life Task Force initially on the design, and Lisa Schroeder and everyone at River Life were fantastic to work with, and they helped us decide to keep that side of the stadium completely open. And you know, we certainly are very appreciative of that because the sight lines are fantastic.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a gorgeous place to watch a soccer game for sure. Is this a sign of a coming of age for soccer in our region?
Yeah, I think there's been a nice cultural shift in Pittsburgh. I think soccer is now a sport where the younger parents grew up playing the sport. And maybe 10, 15 years ago you didn't have that necessarily just because of the availability of the game. But the way the game has grown in Pittsburgh, you know, there's over 50,000 kids playing soccer in Western Pennsylvania, so the market is there. But now the young parents that grew up playing soccer, they have an understanding of the game and the culture of the game, and that's been passed along to the children. So we're certainly starting to see a fabric built around the game of soccer, and it's getting tighter and tighter and stronger every year.
I hadn't thought about the generational shift, but it's true. The baby boomers in general didn't grow up on soccer. There was some kind of a switch in that transition to what Generation X, I guess, that's changed it all.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, you know, I think the Penguins are an ideal franchise. When you look at what they've done, they've been the benchmark in terms of engaging the younger audience through social media and measures like that. The Riverhounds are trying to do everything that we can to follow what they've done. They've done it the right way. And hockey and soccer right now for males ages 21 to 35 are some of the biggest sports in this country. So it's really a nice shift that we're seeing.
And tell me a little bit about the youth program that you've built over the years, and what exactly does that entail right now?
Well, our youth academy is an elite training program. So what we focus on is the development of skills rather than just putting the kids out on the field and playing games. What we've always done in Western Pennsylvania is put kids out on the field to play games and try to win that trophy or win that whatever. But winning is not necessarily the most important thing, as we learned. It's preparing young kids to win. And so developing the players in the right way is what we've tried to do. We've tried to mirror the different systems utilized in Europe of skill development for players. So our current academy system has ages 3 all the way up to 17. We have just over 850 kids in the program year-round, so it's been quite successful for us.
So they're really developing skills then they could take on to college teams or to get very serious about soccer.
Exactly. We want to make each player a valuable asset to any team they join. So that's our primary interest is in developing the skill sets that they need to be successful anywhere on the field.
Let's talk about the professional team. Is it going to mean a lot to the team and to being able to attract elite players itself now that you've got a great facility in downtown Pittsburgh? Yeah,
it's a game changer. It certainly is. And we've talked to many pros, bigger name pros throughout the years, but we have not been able to successfully land those players in Pittsburgh because we haven't necessarily given them something to look forward to. The year-round employment that we can offer through our youth academy is certainly enticing for players, especially in soccer in this country. There's not much money to be made as a professional player. But to have a home venue like we now have with Highmark Stadium, it's something that players realize this is a special spot. I can go to Pittsburgh and play in a professional venue. This will be the nicest soccer stadium in the country for our league. And our league sits just under MLS. So it's a big step for us in the right direction. And in terms of attracting players, it certainly has changed everything for us.
So it's ice hockey through the winter, which is kind of open generally for folks to enjoy. And soccer starts when?
Soccer and football and lacrosse and all the rest of it will start once we get into late March, early April, when the weather hopefully cooperates with us. Hopefully there won't be snow left on the field at that point, but once we get into April, we'll be full scale there with soccer.
Snow you should be okay. Rain, I don't know, but you're used to that if you've been playing soccer in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, soccer you have to be tough. You got to deal with it, and you deal with whatever field space you have in soccer in this country. Usually you're pushed out of the way by football and the other sports, but it's nice to have a soccer stadium in downtown Pittsburgh where soccer can truly shine.
Well, congratulations again. It's really exciting to see Jason Kutney from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and best of luck with the season.
Thank you very much.
Next up, a taste of kolache, now back home in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Stay with us.